Hello Java developers, this is Brian from Snyk, and in this video I will talk about Docker and Java. I will share a few easy security tips that you can use when you're creating a Docker image for your Java application. For this example, I will be using a Spring Boot application I built for a workshop some time ago, and I'm now creating a Docker image for. So let's do this. This is pretty much the naive way of creating a Docker image for my Java application. I am using a base image containing OpenJDK8 and Maven. I create a new folder and copy my project there. Next, I will be using Maven to build the application. And when I run my container, the application will be started by using the Maven Spring Boot task. Now, let's build this application and see how large it actually is. As you can see, it turns out that the image is 761 megabyte. If I run the container, my Spring Boot application starts up and perfectly works, and you can see the result in the browser. So let's start with the base image. When we are building a Docker image, the base image is the foundation of our image. I will scan the base image that we use using the Snyk container command as part of the Snyk CLI. When scanning is complete, we will find out if this base image has any known security vulnerabilities. Currently, this base image has 111 known security vulnerabilities. If we look a little bit more closer, we see that a bunch of them are tied to the operating system this base image uses. Let's think about this for a second. Do we need a full operating system, including all the security vulnerabilities it ships with? Probably not. But also, we do not need the JDK. We only need a Java runtime environment to run a Java application. We certainly do not need Maven and the original source code in our production image. Let's change this Docker file. And now we're using a multi-stage Docker build. We will use the Maven image to build a Java jar in our build image. And when we have that, we create a second image, our production image, using a smaller Alpine-based Java runtime environment image. Now we simply copy the jar file that we created in our build image, and our new entry point is just a plain old java -jar command. When building this image, we will find out that this new image is far smaller. As you can see, this image is only 178 megabytes. Now, if we scan this base image that our production image is using, we will see that this time we only have one security vulnerability. And that's already a big win. Now we have separated the build image from the production image. With this technique, you can pick and choose and only choose the stuff you need and make your production image as slim and safe as possible. The next thing we will look at is user privileges. I'm not specifying anything in my current Docker file, nothing about users or groups. This means that by default, my container will run with the root user. This is convenient for development, but not something we want in our production image. Let's take a look at this production image and add a few things. I will add a system group and a system user without shell access. Note that this is an Alpine image, so the instructions can be a tiny bit different when you're using another operating system. I will specifically set the working directory and make my newly created user the owner of this directory. Don't forget to specify the user the container needs to use, or else you will be still running the root user. Now, I know for sure that the user that's running the application is not able to access more than needed. You need to make sure that both your Docker image and your Java application do not contain any security vulnerabilities. I will scan my Java application using the Snyk CLI. As you can see, I have two security issues, and I can fix one of them. Although I cannot directly upgrade a dependency, I can specify that I want to use the newer version of Hibernate in my properties. There is no solution yet for the H2 vulnerability. In this case, it's a demonstration application, so for me it's perfectly fine to ignore this application using snyk ignore. I also need to test my container, and as expected, I only have one vulnerability that relates to Alpine. At this moment, I decide that this is okay. However, I do not want to regress. Therefore, I will monitor my container using snyk container monitor. The container will appear in my snyk UI, and snyk will actively alert me if there are any new security issues found. Remember that rebuilding your image regularly can also help you a lot. This is because base images will be updated over time. There are many cases when a simple rebuild of the image can fix a vulnerability because the base image is fixed. So a regular rebuild of your Docker image is advisable, even if your application did not change at all. Just make sure that you design your Java application accordingly, so you can replace your current container with a newer version. Feel free to leave any comments if you have any, and I hope this was useful. Have a nice day.